Hello and welcome to the show. I am Joe Top Hat. We all feel stressed from time to time, whether it's from our job, school, or the pressures of everyday life. Stress is unavoidable, but it's not always a bad thing. Then again, it's not always a good thing. Oftentimes, stress can be so bad we long for an escape. Oftentimes, this means we want to go back to a simpler time, whether it's from our childhood or even further than that. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 2 episodes from the Twilight Zone where the main characters are stressed out and they want to go back to the past. Walking Distance and The Stop at Willoughby. Both episodes cover similar themes, but how they're different is how their stories play out. I'm going to summarize each episode, then compare and contrast them. So without further ado, let's begin. Walking Distance centers around Martin Sloan, a successful ad executive who went off for a drive to get away from the stress of the big city. While his car is getting some work done at a garage, Martin decides to go to Homewood, the town where he grew up. He wants to enjoy the simple things again, like riding a merry-go-round, eating cotton candy, and listening to band concerts. To his surprise, Martin finds his hometown unchanged. They even sell ice cream sodas for a dime. It turns out he somehow traveled back in time. Martin even encounters himself as a boy. He goes to visit his parents, who do not believe he is their son, because why would they? Martin goes to the merry-go-round and attempts to tell his younger self to enjoy the summer while he can. Unfortunately for him, young Martin finds it creepy that an older man wants to follow him around. As he runs away from older Martin, young Martin falls off the merry-go-round, causing his leg to get injured. Later, Martin's father comes by to let him know that his younger self will be fine. He'll just have a limp. He also reveals that he now knows that Martin is his son as an adult because he left behind his wallet with credit cards and a driver's license with future dates. Mr. Sloan tells his son he should go back to his own time since it wouldn't be right to make his younger self share his summer. He also encourages Martin to look for his merry-go-rounds, cotton candy, and band concerts in his own time. Martin returns to his own time with a bum leg and is perhaps a bit wiser from the experience. Now, to sum up A Stop at Willoughby. Garth Williams is at a board meeting waiting for his protege to return. His boss, Mr. Mesro, is growing impatient since the protege was to bring them a very important account. Garth is then informed that his protege left the company for a rival, thus taking the important account with him. Mr. Mesro berates Garth right in front of the board. No longer able to stand it, Garth snaps at his boss and storms out. On a train ride home, Garth falls asleep and wakes up to a conductor shouting Willoughby, a town where it's always summer and it looks like it's back in 1890. It turns out to be a dream, or is it? Garth asks the conductor if there is a town called Willoughby. The conductor said he never heard of it. Back at home, Garth laments to his wife Jane about how much he hates his job. Jane isn't sympathetic. She only cares about their upper-class lifestyle and if Gart's outburst cost him his job. Gart informs her that he still has his job because Mr. Mesro knows that he could take a lot of business with him if he leaves. He tells her about his dream, and she is disgusted because Willoughby is the type of place Gart would be happy in. Jane, on the other hand, wouldn't be. On his way to work the next day, Gart dreams about Willoughby. He tries to get off the train, but fails. After a very stressful day at the office, Gart calls his wife to inform her that he can no longer take the pressure of his job. He pleads to her to stay home until he gets there. Jane hangs up. On the train ride home, Gart once again dreams about Willoughby. This time, he is able to get off the train. Back in the present, we find that Garth had jumped off the train to his death, shouting Willoughby as he did it. The funeral home sent a vehicle to pick up his body, and the name of the funeral home is Willoughby and Son. Okay, now that the summaries are out of the way, let's analyze the episode, shall we? The main characters in both episodes are successful men who are at the end of their rope. Both Martin and Gart are unhappy in the present and wish to go back in the past. In a way, they both succeed. The difference comes in why they are unhappy and where in the past they want to go. Martin is stressed out at his job, but we never get an indication that he hates it or even his lifestyle. The pressures of adult life just got to him and he longed to go back to his childhood. The merry-go-rounds, cotton candy, and band concerts he keeps bringing up are symbols of a happy, carefree childhood for him. Gart, on the other hand, isn't just stressed out at his job, he hates it. He only puts up with it because it helps him afford the fancy lifestyle his wife enjoys. This wouldn't be a problem if he enjoyed that lifestyle as well. Problem is, he doesn't. Gart is a simple man with simple taste. Like Martin, the pressure has gotten to Gart, and he longs to go back to the past. Only he doesn't want to go back to his childhood. He wants to go back to a time before his childhood. Both Martin and Gart discuss their problem with somebody close to them. Martin with his father and Gart with his wife. Martin's father never belittles his son for feeling the way he does. He offers his son compassion, understanding, and some good advice. Mr. Sloane tells Martin to look for his merry-go-rounds, cotton candy, and band concerts in the present rather than the past. This gives Martin the desire to go back to the present. His situation hasn't changed, but his attitude has. Martin will now try to find happiness in the here and now. Gart receives no such compassion. His wife offers him no sympathy when he discusses his problem. She never even asked him if he was okay. The only thing she was worried about is if he lost his job. I know that losing a job is a big deal, but it's clear that Gart is going through a rough time, and she doesn't seem concerned about it. Gart and Jane are very different people with very different values. Gart is a simple man with simple taste, while Jane is a high society woman who has expensive taste. I always got the feeling that Gert would have been happier living a middle-class lifestyle. The only reason why he lives an upper-class lifestyle is because of his wife. I do have a lot of respect for Gert for putting her needs over his own. Jane, however, fails to appreciate his sacrifice. She only views him as a means to an end. That's not a healthy marriage. Putting somebody else's needs over your own is noble, but it doesn't erase the fact that you have needs of your own. Gert needed to get away from the pressures of his job. He possibly might have needed to change jobs completely. When he tells Jane about Willoughby, all she does is belittle him. The saddest moment in this episode is when Gert calls his wife after a stressful day at work. He tells her he's coming home because he can't take the pressure anymore. He pleads with her to be home when he gets there. What does Jane do? She hangs up. She is a horrible wife. Jane had a chance to console her husband when he's at his lowest. She could have told him she'd be home and that they'll discuss what they're going to do. She could have suggested that he goes away for the weekend, maybe to go fishing. They could have made plans to go out to the country for a weekend, or maybe on vacation. She could have suggested that he find a job at a different company, or even encourage him to start his own business. Any of these things would have shown she loves her husband. It would have given Gert a reason not to go to Willoughby. The sad truth is, she never loved him. He was just her meal ticket. It's not surprising that Martin was able to leave his past to face the present while Gert went to Willoughby and stayed. Martin had a father who cared, while Gert had a wife who didn't. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later.